Hi, my name is Tommy, and today I want to show you the best features of Semaphore Continuous Integration. Semaphore is a continuous integration platform that connects with GitHub or Bitbucket. It pulls your changes from your repository and runs your workflows in a cloud-based environment. This allows you to build and test your code in the cloud on every change and have immediate feedback. Once we log it with GitHub or Bitbucket, we are in the system. The first thing that distinguishes Semaphore from other continuous integration platforms is that they have a visual GUI showing how all the jobs are being executed, and we can even create and edit our jobs using a visual builder. Here's an example of how it works. We have a pipeline here, we have blocks and jobs. Here on the right side, we can configure commands, and whatever we run here, it's going to be executed in an agent, which is a virtual machine or a Docker container. It can be a Kubernetes pod, something that is created just for this job, and once it's done, it's deleted. This ensures that the environment is always clean and allows us to create as many jobs as we want, and Semaphore will automatically create agents to run them separately in parallel. So for example, if I add a job here and I create another command here, these two jobs are going to be executed in parallel, ensuring we have the top speed possible. If we want to add dependencies, we can add a different block and create new jobs with more commands. And as long as we create dependencies, we can make these jobs execute only after the jobs on the first block have ended. Semaphore is a cloud offering and offers a lot of machines to choose from with different specs, memory, CPUs, and hard disk. We have Linux environments, Mac environments to run Mac OS builds. We can also run on self-hosted machines, which are machines that you run on your own hardware. You can run Windows host, Linux host, you can run Kubernetes pods here. And you can also use Docker containers. This allows you to create any image with all the software you need and run your jobs inside a Docker container without having to use something like Docker Compose or Docker Swarm. This is all handled by Semaphore. The idea is to make your work easier, and we have a few options to increase the speed. We can, for example, use Parallelism to create multiple instances of the same job and run things in parallel. If we have a big suite, we can split it in parts and run them each in a different machine. And we can also use a job matrix where we define different variables, and Semaphore will compute all the permutations and run the jobs with all the possible values. So you can, for example, test your application with different versions of runtimes, different browsers, different package managers, different dependencies. Another powerful feature is SSH debugging. We can SSH into the job and run interactively the job, change things, see the logs, see the environment, run commands, and this helps enormously to debug your job more easily. We can, for example, run source commands, and this will run the commands that would normally run on the job. This is a normal Linux machine, so you can run anything you want. You have full sudo powers to install software and to run commands. This is a machine just for you to make use in your development process. Whenever someone pushes a change or makes a pull request or pushes a tag into the repository, Semaphore will detect that change, plug into that workflow, will create an agent using any of the available machines that you want to use, and then it will run the commands, set up the environment, and export the logs. Once the job ends, the agent that ran the job is destroyed and it's recycled, so a new agent can be started for a new process. Another powerful feature is self-hosted agents. This allows you to extend the machines that Semaphore already provides with your own machines. So for example, if you have servers that you own or rent, or you have cloud services that you have ready to use, you can install the agent on your machine and connect it to the Semaphore cloud and runs your job in your machines. This is great, for example, if you have workflows that require GPUs or big machines with lots of memory. If you already have a Kubernetes cluster that you want to use, you can extend whatever services we have in Semaphore Cloud. We even have an open source component to create a fleet of machines on AWS with Autoscale. You can use your Amazon Cloud to host the machines you need and autoscale based on demand. And this is all handled by our open source component. Back to our editor, here we have what we call a pipeline, which is basically a set of jobs that achieve some specific task. In this case, we're going to test and build our software, but let's say we want to deploy, we can add a promotion with that. A promotion creates a new entirely pipeline with its own jobs, and here we can put all the commands we need, for example, to do some specific testing like end-to-end testing or deploy to a staged environment. Promotions can run automatically. We can set conditions or we can run them manually. Once we have this, we can add more promotions and we can create very complex branching workflows using conditions. For example, this is nice if we want to do a deployment to staging, run some tests, and if everything goes right, deploy to production. And for example, if something fails with production, we can run a rollback pipeline. So all that can be done using promotions and different chain pipelines. Every pipeline that we create is a new file in our repository, and we can see them and edit them using either the workflow editor or directly with code. We also have features like parameters. We can create one pipeline to deploy in different environments and use environment variables with different values to reuse the same pipeline to deploy to different environments. So in this case, for example, I have two parameters, stage and production. And when it comes to running the promotion, we hit a selection and we can see to which environment we want to deploy. And doing that, we can reuse the same configuration to deploy to several environments, making the configuration easier and more intuitive. In Semaphore, we believe in making things easier for developers. One big feature we have is test reports. What it does is it collects test outputs for all your jobs, for all your runs, and it puts all the data in one big dashboard. We can see our tests, we can see the errors, we can sort by failed test alphabetically or by test that takes the longest to run, and all these tests are automatically categorized depending on the data that Semaphore receives. Another big feature we have is flaky test detector. It works the same as the test reports. It allows us to see what tests are failing randomly, and it identifies them so you can quickly remedy them, or at least know what's affecting and disrupting your workflow more frequently. Semaphore has all the features that you would expect from an enterprise-ready platform. You can manage users, groups, you have role-based permissions, integration with Slack and any other webhook-based systems, integration with Okta so you can manage your users in a centralized place, OpenID connections so you can connect with your cloud provider using short-lived instead of secrets that you need to manually rotate periodically. We also get on-premise support so you can run the entirety of the Semaphore system in your own hardware. You don't need to access the internet, you can run everything internally. So I would encourage you to go to semaphoreCI.com to check the product. You can test it for free. We have a free plan with a generous amount of minutes per month. You can run everything for free. And be sure to go to semaphoreCI.com/pricing to see all the plans we have and all the features we have. I didn't have time to go through all of them, but we have a lot of very convenient features for individuals, small companies, and big enterprise. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this short presentation. If you have any doubts, please leave us a comment, a like, or subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching and have a nice one.